it isn't such a stretch to think Game of Thrones could be coming in the future, not during this Dracula collab, but in the future to the global server. How the heck are you guys? I am Fastidious, and I have for you today absolutely mind-bogglingly wild news. Truly. And some of you are going to think this is bad news. Some of you are going to think this is optimistic good news. Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, if you want truly insane news, and I'm not overhyping this, and you want it as soon as possible, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're about 1,500 subscribers away from 50,000, and we really want to hit that by the end of the year. We have just over a month and a half to go. All right, what is it? Well, this is old news, right? The Dracula event is coming. It is kicking off in 2 days. It is in full swing, basically, at least all the rollout. There may still be some changes, hopefully, to certain characters, Lady Mina. But if we look at the events, it was all put into the game post-update. Dracula's Castle, the Sanguine Throne event, the Bloodline summoning, the Scarlet Feast summoning, the Bloodletter summoning, so on and so on. Shard Assembly, Tales of the Smith, Quarter of Glory, Spiritual Altar. It's all coming, right? This should be a pretty cool collab. However, I know some people have taken issue with the fact that we're calling it a collab because this is a very public, open IP. To me, whether you call it a collab or a crossover, undeniably, it's a special themed event where we're getting IP from somewhere else. Yes, it's the very old story of Dracula. Yes, it's based off of Bram Stoker's Dracula characters, which is in the public domain, but to me, it's still a collab. However, undeniably, a week after this, in Watcher of Realms, there is a full, legit, private, very popular IP collab happening. And I don't think I could overhype it enough. I think outside of like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, this is the biggest collab they could do. So without further ado, you probably already saw the thumbnail, but this is happening. This is not a leak. This is not a rumor. This is not fan art. This is the official English language version, global version of the Chinese Watcher of Realms website. And on the Chinese server, on November 20th, Game of Thrones is coming to Watcher of Realms. And it is insane. Like, I don't really know how else to say it. So let's get the negative out of the way. Boo-hoo, this does suck that we're getting Dracula, which is like cool, but feels half-baked and is like a very open public IP. And then the Chinese server is getting Game of Thrones. That's the negative. It's frustrating. You have this foil to our servers. The Asia server, the global server, the Forerunner server, we're all getting Dracula, and then the specific Chinese server is getting Game of Thrones. They're getting George R.R. Martin, baby, and that is so cool. And look at these designs. They look exactly like the characters from the show, exactly like the actors. This is pretty wild stuff. So yeah, I think as a comparison, this is a tough pill to swallow, right? However, let's try to be positive. Let's try to be optimistic. This is 100% confirmed happening, and on a really nice optimistic note, it shows that Moonton has a relationship with someone that is able to license the Game of Thrones IP, right? So it isn't such a stretch to think Game of Thrones could be coming in the future, not during this Dracula collab, but in the future to the global server. Like, this effectively to me serves as like a proof of concept. Now, could they not license it globally because it was too expensive? Maybe. What I'm hoping is this is them testing it out. They're like running it on the Chinese server and seeing if the juice is worth the squeeze. Undeniably, this is a far more expensive pursuit in terms of a crossover collab than the totally free thing, which is Dracula, right? That is open public domain IP. This is not. So they had to have licensed this in some capacity. If you think of Raid Shadow Legends, I know some of you don't like that game, but that's a really great game in my opinion that I play every day as well. They have done many more crossovers and collabs than what Watcher of Realms has done so far, right? So far, it's nothing. On November 13th on the global Asian and Forerunner servers, we're getting Dracula. That's the first ever. And then I guess the second ever, but the first ever on a specific server, the Chinese server, on November 20th, they're getting Game of Thrones. This is like a new concept in this game. I bring up Raid because they have already done both of these types of collabs. Open public domain collabs and very, sexy, high commercial value, private IP collabs, right? Like with big commercial appeal. So to take you through it, I hope I don't miss any, but with Raid, they've done like an Asgard Thor collab. That's a free public domain thing, right? That is just mythology. That's just Norse mythology. They've done that. They've done Monster Hunter, which is insane, and that obviously is private. They've done Alice in Wonderland from the Lewis Carroll book and all the stuff that's come since then. It's very old, it's open to the public, right? And then very recently, they've done Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which obviously is like the peak of a commercial collab, and it's been a rip-roaring success in Raid. Two of them are these public domain things, Alice in Wonderland and Norse mythology Asgard Thor. And then they've done these two crazy, ambitious private ones. Monster Hunter, one of the most popular games in the world, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of the most popular, franchises, IPs of all time, right? So could this be a sign that that is the path Watcher Realms is going to take? Maybe they're going to switch off between the two. If you want to do 2, maybe 3 collabs a year, I think a lot of these games either can't afford to do these crazy, commercially successful licensing requires your money IP collabs like Game of Thrones, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Monster Hunter. So maybe you do have to alternate. That's what they seem to do in Raid. Or maybe they can afford it, but they feel like they'd be less special if every collab was a crazy, super popular IP collab. So I am choosing to be optimistic. As we wrap up, if we look at this image over here, this is a screenshot I sent to some of my moderators based on a conversation I was having with ChatGPT. I was just looking for further confirmation, hard confirmation. Obviously, it being on the official Chinese website for Watcher Realms is hard confirmation, but I wanted to know, have they made announcements on Chinese social media from official accounts, so on and so on? And the answer is yes. It is official on the Chinese side. So nothing about this is a leak. Nothing about this is a rumor. This is something that's happening and currently being promoted by Moonton, by the developers, by everybody in China as part of the big event coming to the Chinese server in the game. So GPT says, I found 2 verified Chinese announcements from the game's official TapTap account. That's a very popular social media that explicitly confirms the Game of Thrones collab, giving timings. Post title, Chinese, 11/20, November 20th. Watcher of Realms by Game of Thrones collaboration confirmed. Winter's coming on November 20th. Post title, this is in Chinese, and it says the body lists event beats like this thing and several limited summon promos like this. TapTap is one of the primary official announcement channels for Chinese mobile games. These posts come from the certified official game account, so they count as official. For completeness, the Chinese official site you shared is the right hub for Chinese information, but many of its news pages don't render cleanly to external crawlers, which is what ChatGPT is. TLDR, it's confirmed, hard confirmed in official announcements on the site and TapTap that it's coming to the Chinese server. It starts on November 20th, and then promos are going to happen. From what I understand, hard confirmed from my research, Daenerys Targaryen is coming, Jaime Lannister is coming, and Jon Snow is coming, right? They've got Hot Sit here for the theming. I don't know if the Night King is going to actually be a part of it, or he's just a boss you fight. You can see the cool direwolf in the background. I think this art is freaking exciting and gorgeous and awesome. I think this could be a sign of really cool things to come. If we want to wrap this up on an incredible note, and I think this could bode really well for the idea that Jaime Lannister, Daenerys Targaryen, Jon Snow, Game of Thrones is coming to Watcher of Realms. If we go back to this is from my dev interview I did with the developer team around the anniversary. This was with Prospector, Destined, and Susie. So shout out to all of them. You can see this was August 20th. We shared this. We did the interview about a month earlier. It was in the end of July. My big fat head is covering it with my random hair coming out the side. But this was actually a question I asked, and it was, are you guys planning to do collabs with big IPs? Books, movies, shows, other games? And what the developer said was, we've got multiple in the works. They said we don't just have one, we have at least 2 things in motion. They said they couldn't tell us more, but they said they had multiple things in the works. So when I hear multiple, I think more than one. You can see in the question I asked, this is one of the questions I submitted. I said books, movies, shows, other games. Well, what do we get with Dracula? Many movies about Dracula, and these specific versions of the characters are very much based off of Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's books and movies. And then for the second, because they said multiple, what is Game of Thrones? Books, shows. So I'm thinking it could happen. So instead of being a Debbie Downer and saying, oh my God, China gets Game of Thrones and we're stuck with Dracula. Dracula's still cool, but you know what I mean? We could be like, wow, we're getting Dracula and it's really possible we might get Game of Thrones. That's freaking awesome. Like I said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, if you want to get news like this as soon as it happens, if you want to be up to date with everything, if you want to really get into it in the Watcher of Realms world, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. It means so much to me, and it goes such a long way to allowing me to do this every day, 10 videos a week, every week with no breaks. So thank you so much for your support. Subscribe, like the video. That always helps way more than you realize. Share with your mother. I've been Fastidious, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.